not only pandemic, general, investor has a different mindset when they're investing in the downturn. Now definitely it's a downturn because of no matter pandemic or economic cycle. I would say yes, used to be. It's case by case, definitely depends on which sector, stage of the company. But I would say in general, we see the shift of the investor behavior that they try to invest a company with more like a sustainable business model rather than, like you mentioned, the company are not making any money. Our company really depends on the fundraising from the investor in order to survive. They want to invest in company are profitable, have a sustainable business model, and also another thing is more cautious and also more efficient in terms of cost reduction and operation cost. So I think that's a change and shift of the investor focus. Another thing is the behavior for investor change a little bit is how they invest across all the startup companies. Compared with 2017, I would say back in 2017, we joke about every company got funded because there's so much capital and everyone is trying to take their own bet. And for now, I would say the amount of VC capital in Silicon Valley is still in historical high. We're not lack of capital, especially for early stage, because we all talk about early stage. Downturn is the best time to invest in early stage. So lots of VC understand they start to allocate more in early stage. But you can see now the capital investment are more concentrated, which means the top 10 or 20% of the company would most likely to get a majority of the capital, and the rest of the company would have a harder time to raise money. Give you an example, like for our portfolio, since the mandate is a digital transformation, they're doing great in terms of technology, customer attraction. I literally have 5 companies last week, one single week closed a new round, and all 5 companies got an oversubscribed round. The one got the most is was closing a C round. The target was $35 million. They got the 200% was subscribed, so has to close and kind of redo the terms and close a $70 million C round. So that's how good company attract really concentrated VC capital. But on the other side, yes, you probably heard lots of other founder felt they had a harder time to raise. And also how founder define a good company to invest is different from previous years as well. It's not only, excuse me, it's not only about, whether you have a rapid growth potential. It's more about whether you have sustainable business model, whether you could get early market traction validation before you start raising a much bigger round.
How about the founders themselves? Are there some of the traits that would be preferred traits of founders that investors of today would like to invest in?
What do you mean by traits?
Traits of founders, or in terms of a type of founders that could be of better interest, maybe for your VC, for example.
Yeah, I think for now, besides what I mentioned earlier, I think a more experienced founder is preferred by VC. You probably heard lots of news about super young founder got funded a couple of years ago, but I think for now, VC will feel more comfortable with a founder who went through the cycle before. The thing is now it's not only about the competition of the business itself, it's a survival game. I was talking with some founders saying that, okay, if we call it a game, first half, the main theme is to survive. Survivor gonna be the ultimate winner. The second half, actually, that's a big opportunity because you have much less competitor. Market is now crowded, capital is more concentrated, more likely you'll be able to become much bigger company. But the first half is whether you could survive. And the founder with experience, really operate a business during the downturn, definitely gonna attract more interest from the investor. I think from founder perspective, I also give suggestion to founder is during this downturn, really think about how to efficiently run the business, including, really reduce the cost. Even you don't have a runway issue, try to extend it by cutting your own salary, try to, be more efficient of capital spend in terms of a team expansion plan, and to show that you know how to handle this, sudden change of microeconomy to the investor. The investor will have more confidence that, that not only 2020, probably the next couple of years, the only thing we know is uncertainty. There will be tons of surprise came out every single year, every single day, I would say. But any founder could really show the capability to investor that they could handle this uncertainty situation, still maintain dedicated, determined to push the company move forward will be very attractive.
And how do we ensure unbiased views when selecting founders or businesses to invest in?
I think this is definitely an opportunity for lots of good founder, but on the other side, it's also opportunity for founder with diverse background to be selected by the investor. Because now, you know, as I mentioned, it's all about open mind and diversity critical for innovation. And because, you know, now it's more focused on sustainable business model, lots of the diverse background founder probably have a more solid foundation build up the company. So I think that's also changing slowly in the market right now.
Well, as we all know that the number of businesses that are led by women founders are pretty, you know, small, right, in numbers, especially across Asia. How do you think we can increase the number of investable businesses led by women founders?
I think the first thing is, you know, we definitely, because the trend of this time is really, you know, digital transformation and new tech. Tech is a foundation. I'm very glad to see that lots of, there's more and more potential female founder who has a very good technical background, or even the owner of the tech innovation. I think the next step is we need to give them confidence and also give them a little bit push for them to feel like they could take this opportunity to become a founder themselves. And meanwhile, from investor side, not only me, there's a group of female-led VC. We try to make it more welcome for female investor, female founder to work with VC industry in general. Because for VC, we also have very few female-led, female partners in the industry so far, still single digit. But now there's more and more successful female entrepreneur like me, and change the career path, become a female investor. And we try to make female founder feel like they could talk with us, they could work with us, we could truly understand the life cycle for early stage startup, and also give them, you know, as I said, non-biased decision only based on the performance of the company. And another thing I always talk about the diversity is it's cognitive diversity. Because when people talk about diversity, only focus on like gender, race, nationality. But for me, more important is cognitive diversity. Whether, for example, in my team, definitely I'm Chinese, my team member, they're American, but on the other side, I have team member who is a Midwestern. So really understand, you know, his life has, how he has different perspective about which type of tech will be applied to the traditional sector. I have a team member who has initially from Europe, spent time in Singapore, and studying in UK, came to Silicon Valley with a more global perspective. I think all this different perspective is critical for us as an investor to always kind of remind ourselves, you know, be open-minded, and also try not to have any bias when we try to look at different founder. And there's no such thing like a standard profile of a good founder. And we try to really give opportunity to different type of founder to be able to show us what they're building, and based on the fact and the performance to make our decision.
Right. So how do you think SMEs can actually catch up with the startups of today? We talk about digital transformation, but for traditional SMEs to even implement digital transformation into their business, they need to first understand what is their end goal and in mind. What do you think, you know, they could do? What can they do to catch up with the startups? I mean, would you think they should collaborate? Do you think, you know, they should learn from the startups, or the other way around, startups should also learn from the SMEs to think about profitability and things like that? I mean, yeah, what's your take on that?
I think and there's actually lots of the startup companies try to help the SME to do the digital transformation as well. So definitely there's lots of collaboration opportunity, but on the other side, like you said, the startup company, especially Silicon Valley, had this like fundraising campaign. You need to keep fundraising, but they definitely are learn their lesson, you know, be able to generate blood for themselves. It's very critical to build a sustainable business model. So I can see there's a very good opportunity for both sides to not only learn from each other, but incorporate with each other. And SME always are more flexible in terms of adapting and also integrate with the new technology. And meanwhile, on the other side, they could give very good feedback for the startup founder for them to further upgrade and also improve their technology solution.
What would be your advice to businesses during this pandemic to we talk about survival. Yes, we talk about survival, but how do we even overcome survival? Some people will say maybe this is downtime, so therefore do some revamp on your business, or maybe look into investing in a sub business that could potentially help you in your current business. Or there's so many advices out there. I mean, what would be yours to the entrepreneurs who are suffering during this pandemic? Yeah.
I would say for entrepreneur first, the very important thing is always keep a close eye on your runway. As we talk about, survivor is the ultimate winner. After surviving part, the next stage will be super attractive things. That's the reason why we see great company always establish around the downturn, because the market after the first half of the game will be much better for a company to grow bigger. So really watch closely to your financial situation, cash flow, runway. That's the first thing. And second thing is really think about the kind of find a good balance in short term, long term. I don't think any startup company should change their direction just because of the current pandemic situation. Just all of a sudden doing something totally different. You need to have a focus and you need to be persistent. But on the other side, if really have a hard time in terms of internal revenue, in terms of cash flow, could try to find a short-term approach or set a business could make some quick money. And another thing is, as a founder yourself, that's the time you show your dedication. For example, I have company founder. Company is making 300 million yearly revenue. The founder is not taking any salary. So now it's a downturn. So if you want your company to grow faster and stay longer, and also show the commitment by cutting your own expenses to give more runway to the company, will also show the confidence to the employee.